Hey, what's up, YouTube family? It's your favorite black guy from Nebraska. It's your favorite melanated gentleman from Nebraska. And we're back in one of our favorite books from the same book from the content that I released the day before yesterday. You already know, in regards to the indigenous American Indians. Okay, that's what it specifically talks about in their history. This part of the chapter is called the F.B. Haviland Publishing, Big Chicopee Chiefs. These publishing companies publish books that told the truth. You know, if you want to hide something, you put it in plain sight, right? That's the best way to hide things. And this book had a lot of propaganda in it in regards to the Negro, Black Americans, the American Indian. Had a lot of propaganda in it, and these publishing companies knew exactly what they were doing. They were taking a little truth, mixing it in with a lie, and presenting it to the public through books. But you know what? What I've also found is that if you want to hide something, what do? You put it in a book. And that's why I present you guys with this content that comes from books. Because let's be honest, a lot of us are not going to read. So that's okay. That's where I come in. Okay? That's where I come in, and I'll give you the information that you need. Okay? If you're here, it's because I know and understand that you respect the information and that you believe the information. So we're going to go ahead and get started on the first page. It's only 4 pages, but inside these 4 pages are a lot of great information. And then what I'll present tomorrow is going to be even. It's probably going to be bigger than this. It's going to be bigger than this. It's about the 10 or the little engines. If you know about the little engines, then you know what tomorrow's content is going to be about. But let's go ahead and get started. All right, here we are. F.B. Haviland Publishing, one company that capitalized off the exploitation of so-called Coon music, was Howley Haviland and Company, also known as F.B. Haviland Publishing, in New York, owned by a man named Paul Dresser. I've heard that name before. Paul Dresser, born Jonathan Paul Dressier Jr., April 22nd, 1857 to January 30th, 1906, was an American singer, songwriter, and comedic actor of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Dresser performed in traveling minstrel and medicine wagon shows and as a vaudeville entertainer for decades before transitioning to music publishing later in life. His biggest hit on the books of Wabash, Far Away, 1897, was the best-selling song of his time. Although Dresser had no formal training in music composition, he wrote ballads that had wide appeal, including some of the most popular songs of the era. During a career that spanned nearly 2 decades, from 1886 to 1906, Dresser composed and published more than 150 songs. Following the success of Wabash, many newspapers compared Dresser to popular composer Stephen Foster. On the Banks of Wabash, Far Away became the official song of Indiana in 1913. The Paul Dresser birthplace in Terre Haute is designated as a state shrine and memorial. Dresser was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1970. And you know one thing I noticed about this book, y'all? It has a lot of misspelling in it. I'll be honest. But I don't want to get off into that, but I just had to say that. At the height of the Panic of 1893, Dresser formed a partnership with Frederick Haviland and Patrick Howley as a silent partner in Howley, Haviland and Company. The New York City firm published Dresser's works while he recruited new songwriters and encouraged singers to perform the company's songs. Dresser stopped traveling and performing during the summer so he could focus on composing music and promoting the new company. In 1894, he invited his younger brother Theodore to join him in New York. Theodore went to work for Howley, Haviland and Company as editor of the firm's trade journal every month, which promoted their newest songs. Theodore later became a nationally known novelist. During their time together in New York, the brothers frequented Broadway theaters, popular restaurants, and hotel bars, as well as the city's brothels and saloons. Go down. In the mid-1890s, Dresser began composing his famous songs, including Just Tell Them Why You Saw Me, 1895, Dresser's songs, along with others published by Holly, Haviland and Company, were included in the top minstrel acts and shows around the country. Dresser's success continued with We Were Sweethearts for many years, 1895, Lost, Straight or Stolen, 1896, and his most famous hit, On the Banks of the Wabash, Far Away, 1897, which took Dresser's career to its pinnacle. In Wabash, Dresser reminisced about his childhood home in Indiana, which was near the Wabash River. With the success of Wabash, many newspapers compared Dresser to popular music composer Stephen Foster. When asked what inspired him to compose the song, Dresser replied, "The same sweet memory that inspired that other Hoosier, James Whitcomb Riley, to sing The Old Swimming Hole." The location of where the song was written is referenced in a short story in The Atlantic by Elizabeth Stuckey French, who wrote Paul Dresser wrote on the books of the banks of the Wabash at Mudlavia. Probably butchered that. For a period, Dresser was the most famous composer in the nation. Wabash was the best-selling song of its time in terms of sheet music sold. Over 1 million copies have been sold in the first year. The Chicago Record reported that Wabash has sold the most enormous sale of popular songs. Newspapers reported that Dresser earned over 50 grand, $1,550,000 for $100 and $2,020. In the first year of sales, Dresser boasted that he made far more than their estimates. Popularity of the song continued for several years. In August 1898, the song was still selling over 10,000 copies a week. One music historian attributed Wabash's success to the perfect marriage of the words and music, where the flow of the music matches the words in a perfect fashion. Millions of people sang this popular song in the U.S. It was a featured song in music halls and vaudeville stages, and a male quartet performances across the country. In addition, the song's popularity spread internationally to places frequented by American travelers. Other songwriters wrote comic parodies of Dresser's song as well. For example, at the outbreak of the Spanish-American War, a folk version of Wabash with different lyrics began circulating. On the Banks of Havana, Far Away, ridiculed the war. In 1902, the song was so well known that after a power outage at the arena on Coney Island left thousands of people in the dark, the entire crowd sang Wabash to prevent a panic while repairing and fixed the lighting. In 1913, Wabash became the official state song of Indiana. In 1900, the selling sheet music copies Wabash, still selling extremely well, Holly, Haviland and Company opened a new and larger office in New York City. In addition, the firm had offices in Chicago and San Francisco and representation in Toronto and London. Dresser also contributed to a book on composing music, hits and hitters, secrets of the music publishing business. All right, I've sped up the reading because I didn't want to have to run out of time while editing this page. So sorry if I was reading a lot fast at the end, but I kind of had to. So let's go ahead and go to the next page. While in his new location in Toronto, he would replace a piece of sheet music that became popular among Canada and the USA called A Great Big Chickapoo Chief, which was published in 1904. Okay. A Great Chickapoo Chief. Check it out. Isn't that interesting? So, like I said, truth in plain sight. Truth in plain sight. This is the perfect representation of that. And I think towards the end of this content, I'm going to give you guys a little extra in regards to Coon or Coon, Minstrel or Coon songs towards the end of this content, because I got time. I can do it. So just want to give you guys a little more. Okay, let's go ahead and get on to the next page. On this page, you have the image of the chief being persecuted and legally reclassified as a Negro preacher after being jailed for being accused of stealing chickens. Wow. So the correlation between an Indian chief to a preacher is, I never would have made that correlation. And it's at the bottom, it says FBH Haviland Publishing Company, New Zealand, Broadway, New York. Wow. Canadian American music to Toronto, France, Francis Day and Hunter, London. Wow. So there's a correlation there, guys, between a pastor and a chief. Didn't know that. All right. from here, we're going to go ahead and go to the next page. A great big Chicopee chief, burlesque Indian Coon song. This is a quote-unquote Coon song by Edward Madden, music by Theodore Morris. Let's go ahead and check out the song lyrics. At a Indian. In Montana, wild and woolly lived a foxy Coon. He dressed to the court. Next morn, they brought him famous Indian chief. Told the up just like an Indian on a night in June when the silvery moon was judged, just how they caught him, common chicken thief. Said the judge, make your story peeping. Silently this Coon was creeping to a chicken coop nearby. Sudden shorter, bring a sponge and a pail of water, wash the mighty chieftain's face. A chieftain? Lord to Lee, he heard a cry. Down the farmers came a weeping. Soon they had the chieftain think of such disgrace. There he stood, the colored preacher, most distinct in every weeping, landing him in jail, and there they heard him wail. Feature. Judge gave him 10 years as he yelled out through his tears. I ain't no chicken thief. I'm a great big heap. Much chick-poo chief. Wow. And here's the rest of the song. I'm not going to read the rest of the song, but I will read this. What did they mean by there he stood, the colored preacher? Most distinct in every. Most distinct. Distinct indicates that something is distinguished by the mind or eye as being a part of or different from others. Two distinct versions, separate often, stresses lack of connection or a difference in identity between two things. If you listen closely, the song sings about persecuting a chief for 10 years who is being accused of stealing chickens, later taking off his cultural regalia, washing off the paint from his face, then referring to him now as a preacher instead of a chieftain. Later not being able to easily distinguish between the two, one being referred to as the colored preacher, and the other is the chieftain, which after 10 years of prison is no more. Which is, if you think about it, that is exactly what has happened. Majority of the Algonquin, Muskogee, and Iroquois nations turned to Christianity. And many of the men who would have become chieftains became AMEC preachers following the religion given to them. Wow, I never would have made that correlation. Never would have made that correlation. Not that I agree with every single thing that this book puts out, but I do understand how, we went from one thing to another. Now, whether it was right or wrong for us, because I don't believe in religion, I believe in relationship. Like, I have a relationship with Jesus Christ, but I don't believe in religion, organized religion. Organized religion to me is like organized crime. There really is no difference between, because with organized religion, there's just a lot of tragedy that comes behind organized religion, because at the top of religion is man, it's not God. There is no, God. If you look in the Bible, you'll find religion. If you look up religion, when it came to religion, it was take care of the widows and feed the poor. That's the only thing you'll see in the Bible about when religion is referenced, is feeding the homeless and taking care of the widows. Other than that, religion in itself, organized or structured religion, has always had a dark past, and it always will have a dark past, even now. So I just wanted to go ahead and bring that to you guys' attention. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I am going to get into another chapter right after this, give you guys a little, a little bit of a bonus. If you guys are still here, I appreciate it. For those who stuck around through the content, hey, I got a little something for you. in which we're going to go back and we're going to talk about the Coon songs, Coon minstrel songs. If you're interested, please continue to watch. If you're not, I understand. I appreciate it all the while. So let's go ahead and get into the bonus content. So like I said, this is going to be called, this is called Coon songs. This is the bonus content that I was speaking about. If you're still here, man, I really appreciate it. If not, I understand, because a lot of us, we already know about this stuff, but then again, there's some that don't. So let's go ahead and get into it. What are Coon songs? Or what is a Coon song? See, they got a whole bunch of misspellings in here. But you know what? That's okay, because we still going to get to the information. What is a Coon song? Coon songs derived out of what we know as minstrel songs. They were genres of music that represented a stereotype of so-called Black Americans. They became popular in the United States, Europe, and Australia from around 1880 to 1920. Although the earliest such songs date from minstrel shows as far back as 1848, when they were not yet identified with Coon epithet. The genre became extremely popular, with white audiences giving performances in blackface and making recordings of songs with stereotypical tropes. White women known as Coon shouters also gained popularity in the genre, where they dressed up like women of color during minstrel performances. The most famous one at that time was Mary Irwin. And let me tell you, they still do this in Europe to this day. They still do this in Europe in a lot of celebrations and a lot of festivals and things. To the T, they still do this in Europe. Here, it's a little bit more hidden. We are the stereotype when the hip hop, the rap, the music. We are our stereotype. Like, we stereotype ourselves in a lot of the entertainment and music that we do. So we kind of more do it to ourselves over here. So this stuff right here hasn't gone anywhere. It's just hidden in plain sight. It's just, it just has a different connotation to it. Like I said, we are happy to perform these type of things when it comes to entertainment and music and television and movies. When you see a Black person playing the role of a Black person, it's always negative. So this stuff still goes on today. This is the birth of that, I believe. So without getting too far of a rant, let me go ahead and read the bottom. Between 1860s until about 1940s, an explosion of so-called Coon song ballads started to be mass-produced by many various so-called white musicians who saw the popularity in black street banjo music performers. They were referred to as Nigger music instruments, but many would go on to copy these songs, capitalize off of it in street ballads. Many would see fame overnight simply by releasing a song, mostly with Black musical influence, but they would mimic so-called Negro stereotypes. And that's how, they leech off of us in every form of every form, being good or bad. They're leeching off of us, making money off of how they see us. And like I said, it still goes on till today. So let's go ahead and continue. Now, here we have some examples of the so-called minstrel music. The Coontown Chappie, Southern Jamboree, the Bully Song, Little Alabama Coon, All I Want Is My Black Baby Back, Happy Colored Man, Sambo and the Banjo, Mary Irwin's new Coon song hits, and the Coon That Made Me Razor, something like that. So, this is it. This is the birth of what you see now in entertainment and music when it comes to us. This is it. And I think we got like one more page, and that will be it. Here we have more examples. The song titled Alabama Coon inspired hundreds of different toys that would be made throughout the South. Many might recognize today. Sambo and His Banjo, released 1891 by Frederick Messick, inspired characters like the Little Black Sambo, which has been republished time and time again by multiple different white authors till this day. So they're still making money off of this stuff. They're still making money off of the image of us. Even though we're hated so much, even though we're disliked and despised so much, even though we're the 13% and all this good stuff, they still find a way to make money off of people that they hate. And I'm not talking about every single white or Hispanic or any person of that nature, but I'm talking about the establishment, the structure, this system that we're under. It hates us, but it doesn't hate us enough to not profit off of us. So, you know, they don't hate us that much. They still make a dollar off of us. So that is that, man. I hope you guys really enjoy today's content. I enjoy making this content, and I hope YouTube is friendly to me. I hope they throw me in the algorithm, because I want a lot of people to see this. I do. People should be, people who desire to see this, they will learn a lot from this. Like I have learned as I continue to read this book, as I continue to go through this book, I learn a lot, and I'm informed, and with information and knowledge, it comes power, So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a homie, let somebody know that your boy is dropping some fire content over here in regards to us. All right. It's your favorite black guy from Nebraska, your favorite black gentleman from Nebraska. Yes, there are plenty of melanated people here in Nebraska. I'm out. Have a great day. God bless.